Yeah, hello. I just wanted to make a quick video on the upcoming Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson fight. I haven't uploaded in a while. The reason being is because the last fight obviously was Tank Davis, which was an exciting action-packed fight. And then we had the whole Devin Haney fiasco where he basically was meant to shut out Yuriorkis Gamboa. He promised a four knockdown KO style fight, which we didn't get, and I wasn't too impressed. Not that I could do it any better, but it was like eating chalk watching that fight for me. He does look sharp. He's like Shawn Porter for me. If Devin Haney could actually hit hard like I think with Shawn Porter, if Shawn Porter had power and Devin Haney had power, oh my god, that would be insanity. Just quickly, the next fight after I watched was Terence Crawford versus Kell Brook, and I actually thought that Kell Brook was putting a lot of emphasis on his size and how he's going to be the bigger man, and to be honest, when they weighed in, when they stood next to each other and faced off, they pretty much looked the same size to me. So that was an epic fight, really, because Kell Brook did actually take the first 2 or 3 rounds in most people's eyes. I thought he took the first 2 rounds. Shawn Porter, I listen to his podcast now. He's great. Hopefully I get to that level of analysis, even though I'm just a casual. But Shawn Porter actually gave Kell Brook 3 rounds. He did fight Kell Brook, and he is aiming for a fight with Crawford. So I think maybe that's also just a tactic for him to say, look, you're not that impressive to me. I gave the first 3 rounds to the other guy. Why don't you fight me? Try and get him riled up. Try and get Bud riled up. However, the KO was pretty crazy. It looked like a jab. The last time I remember a jab putting someone down was when Sergey Kovalev actually put down Anthony Yarde, and he put him down with a jab. Or also when Banana got put down by Jermell Charlo, jab to the body, and I was like, wow, jabs are putting people down these days. So it almost looked like a jab turning into a right hook. Terence Crawford did come out into his southpaw stance, landed that jab, and it was weird how, it was very strange how Kell Brook actually retreated into the ropes. You got to apologize. I'm sitting here in the park. I'm at the university, and there's flies all over me. Not because I stink, but it's just summer. It's about to hit summer here in Australia, so I'm sitting in fly heaven here. However, let's get back to it. So the way he reacted and retreated to the ropes, it was almost like he had gone down onto his knees and he was covering himself up, but he was on his feet and he retreated in that crouching position with his face away. And it's like you're told that you have to protect yourself at all times. And at that point in time, he didn't actually protect himself. He just retreated, and it was just such a weird reaction. A lot of people thought he was just shot. He's been through too many wars. That reaction, that fighter's mentality to react properly, like Shawn Porter says, I'm getting a lot of this from Shawn Porter, was not there anymore. One thing I want to touch on is Franco versus Maloney. I watched that fight. I'm an Aussie. I was going for the Australian. He looked good. He looked good coming out of the gates like he did when in their first match. In my opinion, I did look at the fight. There's a few good screenshots on 208, around 208 of that round, where apparently it was stopped. Oh well, the swelling started to come up onto Franco's eye. Previously, I thought there was no headbutt, but seeing the screenshots kind of convinced me there might have been, even though I'm tempted to think that it was during a clinch. And when people clinch, it's very rare to see a sort of head clash cutting open someone or swelling someone, because it's a clinch. They're not actually moving their body weight. while they're throwing a punch. They're just clinching. When has a clinch been so damaging? The last clinch I saw, or similar style to that, was when Conor McGregor faced Cowboy Cerrone, and he was using his shoulder. If you were clinching, you'd be using your shoulder. When they clinched, the heads came together. That possibly had opened up the swelling. Unfortunately, it was 26 minutes for the review, and I just think that was way too long. We had the two analysts, Tim Bradley, and also we had Mr. Hall of Famer Andre Ward, undefeated, previous pound for pound. Both of them thought that there was no headbutt. A lot of people think that maybe because they work for Tom Brack, they were just, they were in the back pocket. They were just standing up for their paycheck. I don't think so. They've known more about boxing than anyone. Most people had, they've forgotten about more boxing than anyone had mostly learned in their whole lives. So, back to Tyson Roy Jones. I've covered this before a couple of times. At first, I thought Roy Jones was going to be too straight to the target, too in shape, too in form, because he'd previously fought 2 years ago. It comes out yesterday that there's a no knockout rule. There's no judges. There's no winner. There's no cuts allowed. There's 12-ounce gloves. Usually it'd be about 8-ounce gloves for heavyweights, maybe 10-ounce. Everything seems to be coming out now, just while the fight is almost there. I think this weekend. Black Friday's tomorrow. Happy Black Friday. But it is what it is. I did look at a video of Roy Jones hitting the pads about 6 years ago, and man, he looks so much better. After a combination, he'd bounce on his feet, he'd move out of the way, he'd use his feet. When I see Roy Jones hitting the pads now, he's actually staying there and walking away, like walking instead of bouncing away. He's walking away to avoid shots, and then he turns his head after combination in an almost arrogant manner. And yes, I understand he's been one of the best. He's rated as the best ever athlete to ever lace up the gloves, but he's not 20 or 30 anymore, and he can't pull that off. Like, you can see he's got no legs, he's not moving. Mike Tyson has always used his legs to get in, to get out, because he's a smaller guy. He's got those fundamentals. Roy Jones, he's not doing those fundamentals that he was used to doing even 4 years ago when he was hitting the pads. He was bouncing on his feet after throwing punches, and he's still in love with the left hook and just walking away without looking. You can't do that if you're facing Mike Tyson. You can't just throw a combination and just ignore what's going to come back to you. So maybe Roy Jones is doing it for the gram, for the clicks, for the views, but a lot of people are hyped for it. Even I watched a clip, Joe Rogan's still hyped about it. He thinks that doesn't matter that if there's no knockdown clause, that it's still going to happen. I did watch Mike Tyson during his last exhibition fight. Although he did knock down the guy, it was a grazing shot. The guy, had never, it looked like he might have been a professional fighter, actually. I think he was a South African that Tyson was last exhibitioning against. Huge guy. He went down in the first round. However, you could tell Mike Tyson throughout the whole exhibition was pulling his punches. He knew it was an exhibition. I don't think Tyson is going to go crazy, to be honest with you. And sorry to be a dampener, to be a party pooper, killjoy, but I just think that Tyson, he's not too crazy. If you look at his last exhibition, he is pulling his punches. He knows where the rules are, so he knows that. And I think he's going to go into this professionally. They're just going to move around, and that's pretty much it. I do think if someone's going to win, it's going to be Tyson. I just think initially I had Roy Jones winning this by KO because he was going to get to the target a lot straighter and faster. However, and he's going to be able to come through Mike Tyson's peekaboo style, but the more I think about it, Tyson just has way better legs, even at his age, and he's going to use combinations, his power and his weight, size advantage, everything in favour of Tyson. So Tyson by unanimous no decision, because there's no winner. But it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a circus, and let's see. I'll be definitely streaming it somehow, some way, and I'll have another post-fight reaction to it. So I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.